break. Whoa, there. So yeah, they know, that's the first thing they know about me, is that the brain that I've got does work differently than theirs does, which I suppose is really great because that encourages a sort of different theory of mind, which a lot of people don't have. Have you been reading about that at all?
Not yet. I've heard of it. Heard of like the whole theory of mind thing, but I haven't read about it.
So theory of mind is the ability to attribute mental states, beliefs, intents, desires, emotions, and knowledge to ourselves and others.
Okay.
That's basically what the mind does, you know. And then people ask me, oh, can you tell me about women who have different brains like you have? And it's like, I don't really hang out with a whole bunch of, it's not like all of us atypical individuals just hang out in a club.
Yeah. We don't have like this whole group chat where we all talk all the time. Yeah.
Yes. I was talking about this with a behavioral health sort of specialist, a professional, just the other day. I was actually wearing the same clothes as I'm wearing now. I'm not, because I'm looking at the screen and I realize now I'm wearing the same outfit, or I guess the same garments that I was wearing then. But so many people are stopping me now. You'd ask me, what am I supposed to talk about? So many people are stopping me now, asking me, what's it like for women on the spectrum? Can you tell me about that? Or can you introduce me to women on the spectrum? And it's like, I do believe it's great that that's becoming a concern or something that's on people's minds. But how did that start? She asked me, she just point blank, John, why do you think that is? Why do you think they haven't seen women on the spectrum or believe they haven't? Gosh, thank you for asking me that. And the first answer I offered was probably because of masking.
Yeah.
First thing that pops in this mind, they mask quite a bit.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Yeah. Even if they have a diagnosis or not, I think societally, I suppose culturally, there's been this sort of unspoken or implicit sort of demand that something's masked. So would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. I think both men and women can mask. I just think that definitely the social norms for men and women are very different. Yeah. And so women, I think, have more pressure to be more social and more friendly, more emotional. Yeah. And so maybe struggling with those things, you have to mask more. And so it's harder to detect in women, I think.
I think when we say masking, like some people do it intentionally and unintentionally.
Yeah.
And it's just, they don't draw attention to it. I think that's more masking. Would you agree with that? It's not like hiding, although some people do hide certain symptoms. But I think masking is a bit more, like when I've been talking about it and when people have been talking about it, they mean more, it's just kind of like they integrate something into their behavior or routine, you know, in such a way that people just don't ask questions about it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's more integration than hiding.
Yeah. It's not that I hide my need to not talk to people as much. It's more that I just kind of slip away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because then if asked, I imagine you're the sort of individual, you just tell a person, right? Yeah, I don't need to talk to people right now. You know? Yeah.
I'm just tired. I just need to kind of take space, but I don't outwardly say, okay, I'm tired. I'm going to leave right now in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah. See, that's what I do.
Yeah. It'd be so nice if I would let myself do that. I've learned, I've conditioned myself to follow certain norms.
Thinking in about one individual in particular that I know from there, I would say that is very, who happens to be open about having autism, but it seems like her family didn't want to talk about it a lot. Psychologically, she recognizes certain things, and one of them is that sometimes she's the more sane one in the room.
I haven't actually looked up what the differences are concerning presentation, you know, in males and females. So the first one is boys with autism tend to have very repetitive and limited areas of play. Girls with autism are less repetitive and have broader areas of play. Girls with autism are more likely than boys to be able to respond to nonverbal communication, such as pointing or gaze following. They are also somewhat more focused and less prone to distraction.
Interesting.
That comes up so much, where it's like, why am I being called crazy? You know, or I guess deranged or something like that.
Right,
just
right.
Neuroatypical, whatever the diagnosis is, wherever the person lands in that. But the typicals are the ones who appear to be seriously mentally disturbed.
Right.
Boys' social communication issues become challenging very early in their lives. Girls may be able to manage the social demands of early childhood, but run into difficulties as they enter early adolescence. According to the Kennedy-Krieger report, boys with ASD may tend to engage in disruptive behavior to gain objects, while girls with ASD may tend to engage in disruptive behavior to get attention.
One of the biggest fears, I think, that sometimes families with women with autism fear is what they call impressionable. You know, that impressionable. But one thing that the person that I knew taught me was that people with autism are critical thinkers. So not as impressionable as one might think, you know.
Oh yes, I've run into that, and I've run into some judgmental individuals on the spectrum. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So while girls with autism do have perseverative interests, they are more likely to choose interests such as TV stars or music that appear more typical than, for example, many boys' perseverative interests in schedules, statistics, or transportation. It looks like the difference really is it presents later, and it's much more socially oriented. You know, whereas for boys, like for women, autism presents later, and they know to like get attention or gain attention or pay attention to people, right? And communication. Whereas boys,
with social norms and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Whereas boys, it's much earlier, it presents, and then they're more focused on things, objects, or facts, right? And so, a woman, isn't gonna show a lot of that, apparently, until much later. And so people are kind of like, does that even happen?
Yeah.
To women? And it's like, yeah, it can. And so, but to ask me, gosh, isn't that just so strange? To ask me to introduce them to women who have been diagnosed. It's like,
it's kind of funny because you'd think the people who are like quote unquote normal would be the ones that know like the social norms and the social like correct way to do things, and yet they're the ones who are asking something that we can identify as kind of not quite normal.
Yeah, like, no, I'm not supposed to do that, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's sort of improper. I'm coming back to people saying I need to introduce them to women on the spectrum as if I'm some sort of go-between.
Right. If you, exactly. It's rather curious because it would be similar to any community that's in the minority, where the majority, instead of going into a community and getting to know people, they're using somebody from the community as a gatekeeper to be, which means that they're not trying very hard, in my opinion.
You had said you're a private person.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah, you're often a private person. And so it's like, you're probably not to share much more than what you've already shared. Because
I tend to let people know if you know, I'm not going to quite answer that, but I've been good so far.
Oh, yeah, I can tell. I'll just talk to you till it stops, okay? It looks like we got one. So.
You know, you don't represent all autistic men, and I don't represent all autistic women. So we're just examples, just one.
Yes, you know, and hopefully we are great examples. That's what I do attempt to be, is a great example.
Yeah.
So there's all these myths that surround people with autism that, you know, it's almost like, you know, all these balloons that people are carrying around, and you're popping those balloons as you're getting to talk to people.
Oh no, how terrible for them that I'm doing that. Just bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, but then finally they see you for who you are and not through these lenses of beliefs.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Bye.